Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Meet an Ambassador Monday. You might not actually be watching this on Monday because we are going to be recording it. And so, whatever day you happen to be watching it, either live now or at a later date, we're really glad that you're joining us. Oftentimes, students learn about the university through people like me. So, I'm one of the international admissions counselors at UW La Crosse, and I have so much good information I can share with you about how to apply, what kind of scholarships are available, majors, and all of that. But the truth is, I'm not a student at UW La Crosse. So when you really think about what does it mean to be an international student at UW La Crosse, what's good about it? What are the challenges? What is the experience like? By far, a better person to talk to than me is a current student. So we are really lucky to have Teja here. And I'm going to let Teja begin by just introducing herself. Teja, maybe just say, introduce yourself, let them know where you're from and how you ended up at UW La Crosse.
Uh, Hi, I'm Teja Bhimavarpu. I'm a biology major with a chemistry minor at UWL, and I actually came to US through my parents, um, but actually ended up going back to India and getting my F1 visa, which was hectic, but it was really helpful because you have so many benefits being an international student than being a dependent visa. Um, and why I chose lacrosse or UWL is because the campus is beautiful. Like, I've toured many other campuses, but I think this was one campus that I actually really liked. And everything is so close by. So it's like in a walking distance, and I don't have to take a bus to go to like my class or anything, which I really liked.
Especially in winter,
So
right?
yeah, I didn't like that about other schools. So yeah, that's how I ended up in lacrosse, and it's been 3 years. Absolutely love it. It saddens me that I have to leave it after a year, but
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome, Tasia. So did you do your secondary school in India?
no, I did my high school. You mean my high school or
Yeah.
middle school? Yeah, I did my high school here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so for you, kind of, what were the differences that you noticed then between, like, I would say between high school in the US and now university in the US? And did you do any of your schooling in India?
Yes, I did most like till my middle school in India.
Okay. So you've been in multiple educational systems, Indian system, US high school, and US university. What would you say are the biggest differences that you've noticed?
Um, Biggest difference is that we don't have high school in India.
Mhm.
It's just till 10th grade, and then you have college for 2 years, and then you just go for your graduate studies. Um, I think that's one thing because in US we just have so much education, and it scared me a little bit, but um, biggest differences would be in school. I would probably say that we had no high school, middle school, or primary. We just had everything together,
Mhm.
and we never like we didn't choose our classes. It was more like a curriculum
Mhm.
school. So I would say high school doesn't really have a big difference. I feel like you still participate in sports,
Mhm.
clubs, meetings, and like everything the same way in India do. But also, I did go to a private school in India, so it could be different.
Mhm.
Um, but in the US, I can't really tell the differences between colleges
Mhm.
because I've never really never studied in a college in India.
Mhm.
So, but I'm sure there are many similarities too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are a biology major
Hmm.
with a biomedical emphasis. Have you had a favorite class? Actually, not just in biology, but have you had a favorite class at UW La Crosse? It could even be outside of your major.
Um, I'm gonna be biased and say anatomy was probably my favorite. Um, it was very in depth about the functions and a physiological sense of your body and like how everything works. It just makes more sense. Like, also, it just made me frustrated that there's so many things can go wrong with you just because like one receptor didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a great time taking anatomy 1 and 2. Absolutely love the labs. One of the interesting things is UWL schools is like one of the schools who have cadavers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing. I got like an in person uh, to know where the bones are, to know where the muscles and nerves are. Um, yeah, that was the most fun time I had. Um, Probably another class I would say is organic chemistry because I absolutely hate chemistry. I cannot do it for a fact.
Yeah.
But that is a class which actually like broke me. Or like, oh my god, this is like I don't even know if I should like be in the same major anymore. Like I don't know what to do. But I think with like help of other people and like tutors and stuff, I did great in that class. It's just like, sometimes it's like breaking and just building it back up.
Mhm.
So it's been good personally. I think emotionally great. But yeah, I would definitely recommend not taking the class if you don't have.
It's interesting to hear you say that because for my undergraduate, chemistry was my most dreaded class. And it was
Yeah.
the one I struggled in the most. And so I typically aim for like A's in every class. And I was like, just pass, minimum passing grade. I just need to get through this class.
Yep.
But it was so interesting. You're right. Like, as I got more into it, it was like, okay, like this is harder to learn, but it's really fascinating.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think there's just this moment where it clicks, and after that click, you're good.
Hmm. So, as a pre medicine student, how has UW La Crosse prepared you for like the big step that's coming up of applying to medical schools in the US?
Um, Actually, the first time I met my advisor in school, she suggested me to take a biology major and like went through all the classes that I'm supposed to take, and went through like why I have to take this, and also told me like it's okay to be a different major
Mhm.
and you can still get into medical school. You don't have to do this just because you're pre-med. You could still be like concentrated in biomedical sciences with like a different major,
Mhm.
which encouraged me. And I still ended up taking biology as my major because that is the most fascinates me. Um, and biology is so famous in lacrosse.
Mhm.
It's one of the most famous majors. Uh, and I know that I'll get the best. And then once I started taking the classes, the teachers and the professors helped me a lot because I'm like a student who doesn't talk at all. Like even if I have a doubt and I'm like
A fellow introvert.
like looking at everybody, I have like no clue.
Mhm.
But I think once I started going to office hours and like knowing them, like asking them questions, it also helped me build a personal relationship with them.
Mhm.
And also like told me more about my subject and like interested in it. So I would say definitely the faculty is super diverse in lacrosse and amazing, and I wouldn't be here without them.
That's awesome. Okay, so outside of the classroom, what kind of things have you been involved in, Tasia? Like, have you done research, internships? Have you been involved in like clubs and organizations? Have you had a job on campus? I know that's a huge question, but kind of like, what have been your areas of just involvement?
I do research with Dr. Yu. The very first semester, she was my biology, or they were my biology professor. I went up to them and be like, "Yeah, I don't know anything about research. I don't know if I should try it. Like, can we talk more about it?" And they were super nice about it. We had a meeting afterwards, and we talked more about it. And Dr. Yu let me into her lab, and we tried uh, to have um, another meetings and like try to get my project. Uh, and half the time I had like no clue what's going on.
Mhm.
Research is just a big mess. But then I had my own project, and it just makes sense. I think once you start researching more about it, once you have your own question and like to know what to do and like how to go about it. Also, I'm a member of Active Minds.
Mhm.
So it's
Hi.
about mental health.
That's very cool.
Um, yeah, I'm involved in a couple other things, but those are like my main two things, I guess.
That's so good. So you've had a lot of involvement then. Just, I always think as a science major, research is kind of that core thing that you need to do. Um, and this is the most interesting because it kind of helps set you apart then from other students in the biology program. But it's great to hear that you've been involved in other organizations as well. Teja, have you lived on campus at all in the residence halls?
Yes, I lived in Coat my first year,
Mm-hmm,
and it's I would definitely suggest like freshman year to live in like freshman like dorms
mm-hmm,
and not in Eagle or Reuter, because we just need more friends because
mm-hmm,
everybody is new and everybody is like in the same boat as you.
mm-hmm. See if I can. Okay, I think it should come back to you, Teja.
Okay. Yes. So and I made a lot of friends who are still in touch with me till today. So
Cool.
definitely, I would say do that. And I lived in Eagle my next year. I absolutely loved Eagle. It was like perfect balance to just like not to live alone, but also like with your friends, and
Mm-hmm.
also the area where you can study and like have that community in Eagle is way bigger, and it was nicer. So
Yeah.
really,
That's awesome. Um, Important question because I know a lot of international students think about this. What was the food like? What do you think about like food in the cafeteria and on campus? Like, was it okay, or did you do a lot of your own cooking?
yeah, the food did bother me, I think, my first semester because I wasn't used to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think later, um, I just got used to it, and now like I try different cuisines, and like my friends, we have this potluck, or they just tell me different things, and I'm like, oh my god, I never knew this existed, and I'm like, I never knew this. This is so good.
Yeah.
So definitely, food could be a problem, but like once you get used to it, you're great. And we also have Indian restaurant in the class.
Hmm.
So it's called Taste of India.
So
And
good.
whenever I'm like homesick, just you know what, I'll just get something from
Hmm.
there.
That's
Definitely,
my favorite restaurant in Lacrosse, hands down. Hmm.
yes. We are planning to go there soon too, me and my friends.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, well, so okay, so as you're thinking about like you graduate in a year, oh my gosh, it must have gone by so fast. But you've mentioned that you're on a pre-medicine track. What is your plan for after you graduate from UW La Crosse?
Um, I was going to apply to medical schools, and if I get in, then I'll attend a medical school. If not, then I'm planning to do more master's or graduate studies,
Mhm,
just like take a gap year or two. It's also not easier, but if you work with your international advisor, um, my international advisor suggested me that I do an OPT form so that I could work a full year
mhm,
with a gap year. So that's other good thing about it.
mhm,
And I was planning on seeing if I would really want to apply to medical school after my master's.
mhm. I think that's the great thing about a biology major for an undergraduate is there's so many different options, right? Like you can use it to apply to medical type programs like medicine, physical therapy, occupational therapy. Like there's that wide range of health related fields, but you can also
Definitely,
do like master's degrees in other areas or go into business and industry.
yes. You
Hmm.
could also be a clinical lab assistant or a program. You could go into that. You could
Hmm.
definitely apply to PD school. You could apply to PA school. Um, you have to take set of exams, but
Hmm.
you could also be a genetic counselor. um, lab assistant. So yeah, I think your major, once you like choose that big broad major, you have so many other things that you could apply to and do for sure.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, so as you know, like the people attending today and then the people who will see the recording in the future are probably prospective students, like maybe like 17, 18, 19 years old, like just like getting ready to start their college studies. And maybe their parents or other people who influence them in making the decision. So, okay, this is a big question, but if you could give them advice about how to decide if UW La Crosse is a school they should apply to as they're looking at all these other schools, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think the first thing, um, like know if you really want to study abroad.
Hmm.
I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is definitely talk to more people, like talk to the students, talk to the advisors, talk to other like committee members or like communities in lacrosse, just more interest, research about the place, know about the weather, if that's like climate is a big thing, so just want to live here.
Hmm.
But I realized that when I was looking for schools, the more I interacted with like advisors or like people, I just like knew if this is a school I really want to be in. It kind of changes your perspective when
Hmm.
certain people were present in university. So definitely, I say talk more and know if this is really what you want to do,
Hmm.
because I know it costs a lot to be international student.
Hmm.
So make sure. And for me, the most important point in choosing lacrosse was, especially because first that it's famous for biology major, but second is the way I interacted with people. The
Hmm.
first day I came on campus tour, everybody was so helpful, so
Hmm.
kind. Um, and like I was lost and people were just like willing to help you along the way, let you know where to do and what to do. So
Hmm.
that's amazing. So the people interaction really attracted me to here.
Hmm.
So definitely that would be my biggest advice.
That's great advice. I should have asked you, did you participate in the friendship family program?
No, I don't think.
Oh, the Lacrosse Friends of International Students, where like they match you up with a community, like family member or community member?
No, I didn't. I don't
Oh,
think I was an international student my freshman year.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's probably right. I was a
That's
dip.
something that typically happens, but yeah, but I'm glad you've gotten connected with like other aspects of the community. Um, like, have you felt okay? So, as an individual from India, have you felt like you've gotten connected in any ways with the Indian community in lacrosse?
Um, there's an Asian international community in lacrosse where I usually um, go to do my homework or some tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did connect with people there and made great friends. It's just a nice little spot in Centennial, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not aware. It's called this multicultural center where
Mm-hmm.
there many like people from different countries and just like
Mm-hmm.
all around the world, and it's just amazing to be there because they're like on the same boat as you, and they're like going through the same things as you too. So definitely had great community there. I wish I was just more involved, but
You're
I was
probably really busy with like your classes and your research and everything.
I was a little more busy with that, but
Mm-hmm.
I am planning on being involved in my senior year just because I missed that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I did go there, I think last semester, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was just had more time to spend here because it just really feels like home.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree. I've heard that from a lot of students, and I think they just really want to create that atmosphere where people can just come in and, like you said, like hang out, do your homework, and just like connect with other people where you have some shared culture or shared experiences. Yeah,
Mm.
that's awesome. Well, Tasia, I want to thank you for answering all of those questions. And I know that we do have some students in here. So I'm going to say for any of our students who are interested in asking a question, you can either type it into the chat, or you can certainly unmute yourself and ask the question if you have one. If you don't have a question, that's okay, but we just want to give you a chance to do that. And we do want to say as well that this is being recorded, and so it'll be out on social media on the UW La Crosse International Admissions Facebook page and possibly some other places as well. So for those of you watching, if you want to go back to anything that Teja said, you can see it on social media. And hopefully people who weren't in here today will be able to hear all the wonderful information she shared as well. So do we have any questions from the people in the group here? All right, we have a student who's typing in the chat. Michelle, thank you for joining us. Okay, so you're from Nepal. Michelle, do you have any questions specifically?
Hi.
Hi, oh, there you are.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you.
It's really nice for you to join us. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me begin with my introduction. I am Mr. Karka. I'm originally from Waling, Nepal, and I'm currently living in the capital city, Kathmandu. So I just completed my high school from KMC, and I am gravitated toward computer science major. So what I believe is anyone with a professional ambition strives to do great work and hence can bring life to the work. So from the early childhood, I have been in the sector of developing and designing. So that's what brought me to choosing computer science as my major.
That's awesome. Yes, and probably what also then led you to maybe consider University of Wisconsin-La Crosse to apply to. We have an amazing computer science program. So we've got the computer science and computer engineering undergraduate degrees. We've got the cybersecurity and software engineering graduate degrees. So a lot of just good options, and information systems, which is more like the business applications of technology and database. But so a lot of different ways where you could take your interest in technology. Well, do you have any questions for Teja?
Yeah, sure. So what is the life about there for the international students? How do we manage to study there? What are the scholarship available for international students? I want to know that. So if you could tell.
Teja, I tell you what, if you want to talk about student life, I'll talk about scholarships afterwards.
Okay. Student life
Oh,
here.
hi. Oh,
Hi.
so okay, you can go on.
Student life here is amazing. Being as an international student, I had fun. I made some lifelong friendships and some amazing relationship with professors. Had a just great community in La Crosse. And I was going to tell you that my friend's a computer science major. So he's been doing great and he loves it here. He told me that he's probably going to apply to a company soon. So he's graduating soon. So
Okay.